Having left Kabul in the morning in Afghanistan, our trip through the Khyber Pass to Pesawar took a full day. Join me on this exciting journey. In 1975, I did an overland trip from London, England, to Kathmandu, Nepal. Here, Afghans watched us depart from Kabul. Our journey is shown on the map, with Pesawar being just over the border in Pakistan. Having passed through the border point, the journey through the Khyber Pass begins at Torkham, 36 miles from Pesawar, and extends through the pass to the Jamrud Fort, 11 miles from Pesawar. The road is extremely winding, as broad as 1 mile, and sometimes as narrow as 52 feet. It was heavily fortified. There's a lot of travel information on Pesawar and the Khyber Pass because of the British activity there in the 19th century. I'd read this fascinating book by William Moorcroft and George Trebeck, published in 1825. My father has been an avid stamp collector. Here are some stamps showing the Khyber Pass. The border point from Afghanistan into Pakistan, where you move from the right-hand side of the road to the left-hand side, honoring the British tradition. It's a rather barren spot. A postcard from Pakistan showing the Khyber Pass. Early 19th century British engravings showing the Khyber Pass. And a satellite view from Wikipedia. The Khyber Pass is shown inside the yellow square. Early photographs taken in the 1920s. And a recent panoramic view. It's even possible to take a steam train from Pesawar up the Khyber Pass. This notice outlines the history of the track. The Pesawar section was built in 1883 and extended to Jamrud in 1901. A 1970 photograph of the steam train. And modern photographs illustrating that things haven't changed very much. Still the same steam engines. The Pakistani army keeps a large number of troops at the Khyber Pass. They are posted to Michni Post, providing a panoramic view of the western portion of the Khyber Pass in the Hindu Kush mountain ranges. The Khyber Rifles defends the area. An artist paints the Khyber Pass. This view shows the valley and Pesawar in the far distance. Typical trucks on the highway. Memorials at a bend on the road. There are a lot of deaths on this road. There's a number of books published on Pesawar that excite attention. A satellite view showing Pesawar in the small squares. The satellite view illustrates the mountains and the plain that the city's located in. It's not a large city, but it does have an airport. Pesawar Airport. A city map. This map shows the old city. The old city was once enclosed by a wall, which was removed during the 1950s, I think. This map shows the city gates. Pesawar has a long history of warfare, as this early English engraving illustrates. Another early English engraving that's been artificially covered, showing the streets of Pesawar. The British government building, showing some of the British colonial style. The gates of the old Pesawar walled city in early photographs. Pesawar is not a big city and there's not a lot to see or do. The bazaars welcome tourists, and there's lots of them. They're specialized depending on what you want. Another Mughal gateway into the old city. We'll take a look at some of the postcards of Pesawar. The gateway to the Khyber Pass. Islamia College is photogenic and a frequent target of photographers. Inside the old walled city. The university, I believe. We'll finish up with some street scenes and people around Pesawar. Street vendors along the railway track, Pesawar. Pakistan. I do appreciate your company, dear viewer, on this trip from Kabul, Afghanistan, through the Khyber Pass to Pesawar, Pakistan. I do hope you have a great day. In 1975, I traveled overland from London to Kathmandu, Nepal, passing through Pesawar, Islamabad and Rawalpindi, and on to Lahore in Pakistan. Join me for this tour to Rawalpindi and Islamabad. These cities located in the northeastern side of Pakistan. Islamabad is the capital of Pakistan. The city was built during the 1960s to replace Karachi as Pakistan's capital. A 19th century British historical map. Islamabad has historically been the crossroads between Punjab province and the northwest region. Another 19th century map. Islamabad, which moved from Rawalpindi in 1967, is a modern city, being well organized into the capital territory. It's got 8 zones and lots of green areas. This aerial photograph shows the relationship of Islamabad and Rawalpindi. They're located side by side. A modern airport services both cities. There's a lot of interesting information about the development of Islamabad. Seeing things like t-shirts, stamps, caps, and even baggage stickers excited interest in the region. Rawalpindi gave up the capital, which was moved during the 1960s, to Islamabad. The city was planned from the ground up and built to be the future of Pakistan. Here are some pictures from the very early 1970s showing some of the development. A new hotel in Islamabad, 1970. A modern freeway system was constructed. Here's the major cloverleaf for Islamabad. There seems to be hundreds of postcards showing the large Shah Fazl Mosque in Islamabad. It's the #1 tourist center and draws thousands. There are lots of postcards. This is a minaret from the Shah Fazl Mosque. A view at the mosque. Ultra-modern buildings. Not sure if this has been built yet or whether it's still planned. The Agricultural Development Bank. This building is called the Saudi Pak Tower. The Prime Minister's Secretariat Building. The apartment buildings, I think. Another view of the blue area with the modern buildings. It's interesting, the buildings are in fact blue in color. Now let's take a look at Rawalpindi. It's a traditional city steeped in culture and history. It's a date with medieval Pakistan. The history of the area takes us back to the 1700s when it was under Sikh rule. In 1849, the city was taken over by the British, whose imprints are still visible. There's a sizable military presence in Rawalpindi today, and they've got a large museum outlining the history of the Pakistan military. This tank dates back to the war with India in 1965. The museum's got loads of photographs, and some have made them to the web. The best way to see Rawalpindi is to wander through its bazaars. But orient yourself. There's two main roads, the Grand Trunk Road, running east-west, known as the Mall, and the Marie Road, going north to the hill station. The Grand Trunk Road covers 2,500 kilometers and crosses 3 South Asian countries, Pakistan, India, and Bangladesh. Starts at Pesawar, runs through Rawalpindi and Lahore, and then through India, including Delhi, Varanasi, and Kolkata. A 19th century shot of traffic on the Grand Trunk Road. And traffic today with the traditionally painted Pakistani bus. Rawalpindi has a strong British tradition, and there's quite a number of 19th century engravings of ruins around Rawalpindi. This is labeled an ancient temple. Another early 19th century British engraving. The British tradition's apparent in this Rawalpindi railway station. Notice the steam locomotive. More evidence of the British, a British church called Ravenshaw. Rotas Fort, about 3 kilometers west from the Grand Trunk Road near Dina. It's a national, or rather it's a World Heritage Site. There's a lot of forts around, but not all are accessible. An early postcard of the market at Rawalpindi. Let's take a look at the market and the people before we bid you adieu. Thanks for joining me, dear viewer, on this visit to Islamabad and Rawalpindi, made in 1975. I do appreciate your company on this quick visit and wish you all a very pleasant day. Welcome to this visit to colonial Lahore and my impressions during my 3-day stopover on an overland trip through Asia in 1975. I do hope you enjoy it. Lahore is located in the eastern boundary of Pakistan, overlooking India. Lahore contains 6.5 million people and is the second largest city in Pakistan after Karachi. It's one of the 30 largest cities in the world. It's the capital of the province of Punjab. It was commonly called the Gardens of the Mughals. Let's take a look at some of the modern picture postcards of Lahore. Here we have Wapta House, a modern office block with a glass dome in the roof and a roof garden. A picture postcard of the Lahore Museum. A fasting Buddha, a famous Lahore icon. This was Emperor Akbar's Diwaniyam, or meeting room, in Lahore Fort. Alangiri Gate into the Lahore Fort. Jahangir's tomb, Lahore, just outside Lahore on the Ravi River. Yet another tomb. We'll take a look at the city on maps. A 19th century map showing the city on the Ravi River. Yet another early map. A modern tourist guide to Lahore city. This map illustrates that Lahore is in the Punjab province with the Punjabi ethnic group. I'm an active amateur radio operator, or ham, and frequently work stations in Pakistan. Lahore has a number of luxury hotels, and here's a luggage sticker for the Park Hotel. I read a number of interesting books on Lahore. The Dancing Girls of Lahore. It's entitled Selling Love and Saving Dreams in Pakistan's Ancient Pleasure District. The money of Pakistan showing Lahore Fort. My father was a keen stamp collector and gathered many stamps from the region. This 747, run by Pakistan Airways, is labeled the Garden of the Mughals, the name for Lahore. Lahore has a modern airport. Coming into land at Lahore Airport. Ultra-modern buildings, this one's still on the drawing board to be constructed. A modern freeway system in Lahore, this one joins Islamabad, the capital. Five-star luxury hotels. The General Post Office in Lahore. Tollington Market on Mall Road. Well, I guess you got the idea. Lahore's a large modern city. It does have an old section, and it's got a long, fascinating history which has been captured in paintings and postcards. Nineteenth-century British engravings excited great attention in England about the mysterious East. British engravings showing the colonial influence of the British. This one was erected in honor of Sir John Lawrence. An engraving of Government House in Lahore, 19th century. The opening of the railway in Lahore in 1855. More colonial housing built by the British. This is the Montgomery Memorial. The Government and Oriental College. A bridge built on boats across the Ravi River, 1849. A panoramic view of the city under the British in the 19th century. More early engravings, a market. An engraving of the Lahore railway station. One of the notable contributions of the British was a modern railway system. An aerogram celebrating the Lahore fort. It was built by Emperor Akbar in 1560. At least the walls were 380 by 330 square meters, with a lot of buildings of different ages inside. A map showing an outline of Lahore Fort. Let's look at some early engravings and postcards of Lahore Fort. The Alamgiri Gate's the main entrance into Lahore Fort, with the pavilion in the foreground. The walls are massive. Let's take a quick panoramic view from the inside of the fort. A close-up view of the Hazuri Bag Pavilion in front of the gate to Lahore Fort. The Hall of Public Audience in Lahore Fort. The Hall of Special Audiences in Lahore Fort. There are 13 gates to the old walled city. Let's take a look at a few of the gates, some in early engravings, others in postcards. The Bashadi, or Emperor's Mosque. Let's have a quick glance at the Lahore Museum, built by the British in 1864. Just a few snapshots inside. The fasting Buddha is also located in the Lahore Museum. It's found on many picture postcards. This majestic red sandstone structure is located 5 kilometers northwest of Lahore, across the Ravi River. It's the tomb for the Mughal Emperor Jahangir. The Wazir Khan Mosque, Lahore. The Shalimar Gardens, built in 1641 in 1 year by the Mughal emperors, is located about 5 kilometers east of Lahore Fort. It's one of the best examples of the Mughal Empire's landscaping. Zamzama is a gun located in the middle of the road, not far from the Lahore Museum. It was immortalized in Rudyard Kipling's book as Kim's Gun. The Menara Tower is a memorial located on the site where in 1940 the Pakistan resolution was passed recommending an independent Muslim state of Pakistan, which of course occurred in 7 years later. We'll conclude with some picturesque shots around Lahore. A picturesque Lahore house. Thanks for joining me, dear viewer, on this visit to colonial Lahore and my impressions of Lahore today. I do appreciate your company and wish you a most pleasant day.